Good morning, everyone. So before I start the class, I just wanted to know if you can able to hear me and you can also able to see the screen. Can any one of you confirm, please? Can you see the screen and can you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Right. So let us get into the demo. But before that, I just wanted to give a brief introduction about myself, and then we'll start the demo session. So myself, Rizwan, having 12 years of industry experience. So currently working in a MNC. Normally the trainers don't tell their company name. So it's a confidential information. So working as a senior technology lead in my company. So leading a team for a project with a 4 members in the team. My report is 4 members. So completely SAP UI5 OData Fieri CDS combination of project. I have been there in the industry from last 12 years. My experience on various technologies like SAP, BSP technology, WebDin Pro, Java, WebDin Pro ABAP. And then from 2013 onwards, I have been working in this SAP UI5 OData Fieri. So almost from 14 to 22, almost around 9 years, I'm spending only on SAP UI5 and Fieri. Okay. And coming to the training experience, I have equal training experience. So when I started my journey in industry, in software industry, so from that time itself, parallelly, I'm doing a teaching in Amirpet, Hyderabad. Okay, so I'm a trainer in Amirpet, Hyderabad as well, parallelly working in a software industry. So my training experience are also 12 years. Industry experience is also 12 years. Okay, so and I'm a very passionate towards teaching. So I've been a trainer from my childhood as well. Okay, so when I was studying 8th class, 9th class, 10th standard, so from that time itself, my teaching journey has started. Okay, because of very much interest towards the teaching. So that's a brief introduction about myself. Now let us get into the demo session. All right. So what exactly you are going to understand by the end of today's demo class? We are going to understand what is SAP UI5, what is OData, what is Fieri. Before SAP UI5 came into the market, there are few previous technologies with which we used to develop web applications in SAP world. So what are those previous technologies? Next, we talk about some disadvantages of the previous technologies, and we talk about the advantages of SAP UI5. And finally, we talk about the most important 3 things, and those are MVC architecture of SAP UI5, front-end to back-end data flow, how it happens. Front-end means your browser. Your browser is the front end because you will interact with the browser, right? So from the front end, how the data will go to the back end, and from back end, how the data will come to the front end. So back end means your database. So how this data will flow from front end to the back end and back end to the front end. This also you will understand very clearly. And finally, difference between SAP UI5 and Fieri. So many people have confusion in this topic, like what is the actual difference between SAP UI5 and Fieri. So few people might be knowing, but most of the people have a great confusion, I can say, in terms of this difference. Okay, so you will have a clear understanding on what is SAP UI5, what is Fieri, what is OData in today's demo. Okay, so without any delay, let us start. So first of all, what is SAP UI5? Why this 5 number was given? So what is UI? SAP UI stands for User Interface Technology 5. And the 5 number indicates that SAP UI5 is based on a HTML5 framework. So since it is based on a HTML5 framework, so that is the reason this particular terminology was given as SAP UI5. By the way, what you will develop using SAP UI5 technology, what is that technology used for? SAP UI5 is the latest technology in SAP world to develop web-based business applications which can run on your desktop, tablet, and mobile, or in any other device. Some handheld devices will be there, right? So in those devices also, this SAP UI5 will work. I repeat once again, SAP UI5 is a latest technology in SAP world. I am talking about SAP world. So in SAP UI5 is the latest technology for which purpose? The purpose is to develop the web-based business applications. Web-based business applications, and these applications can run on desktop, tablet, or iPad, or mobile, or in any other device for that matter. The specialty of SAP UI5 is you need to develop the application only once, and the same application automatically runs in desktop, and it automatically adopts for iPad screen, and it automatically adopts for mobile screen as well. Okay, so that is what is SAP UI5. You already know some web-based applications, right? So your facebook.com is a web application. Okay, and it also runs in mobile, isn't it? So you already know amazon.in, you already know paytm.in, you already know various other applications, redbus.in, correct, abibus.in. So you in general every day in your day-to-day life you interact with many applications, correct? So all those are web applications. Now with SAP UI5 also, whatever you develop, they are web applications only. But I used a word business application here. So why this particular applications are named as business applications? Actually, there is no difference between a web application and a business application. Both are web applications only. A business application is also a web application. So first of all, what is a web application? A web application is the one that runs on a browser and interacts with some database in your backend and transfer the data from front end to the back end and back end to the front end. Correct? For example, you are ordering something in Amazon. So what happens? You are entering some data, like for example, some potato, half kg, onion, 1 kg. So you are entering some data, and this data will flow from front end to the back end. It will go to the back end and store in a table, in a database table, right? And your order, once your order got confirmed and you want to see the details, now the data will come from back end to the front end. This is called front end to the back end and back end to the front end data flow. Got it, guys? So just like that, SAP UI5 is also a technology to develop a web application. Now, why this particular web applications are called as business applications, let us understand. SAP deals with various businesses, manufacturing business, retail business, okay, plant maintenance. So various various modules are there in SAP, and HR module, SD module, MM module. So even plant maintenance, PM module, even warehouse management, enterprise warehouse management, EWM, we call it as. So like this, there are various modules and various businesses for which SAP works. SAP has solution for various kinds of enterprises, different kind of business. So for these business industries, we are developing web applications. So since these people have their own business industries, and the applications which we are developing for them are called as business applications. It's just a terminology, it's just a naming convention, that's it. But actually, business application is a web application only. But it is used for a business, so it is called business application. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. So I hope you understand what is SAP UI5. The conclusion is SAP UI5 is the latest technology in SAP world. And using this technology, we develop web-based web applications, or you can call it as a business application. And these applications works in desktop, tablet, or iPad, or mobile in any other device. Okay. All right. So now I just wanted to show you some SAP UI5 applications that you will develop as a part of this training. So now we can see this is called a employee management application. So which your previous batch people have developed. So here these are the list of employees of your previous batch. So Asmin, Karthik, Nagaprasanna, Satinder, Vijaya, Ravi Kishore. So all these are the employees of your previous batch. So now you can see you are displaying all the employees. You can see the employee details as well. For example, I click on this employee. Now her name is Satinder. So we added the photo of Satinder. You can also download this photo by clicking on this. And this is the basic information of that employee. So we are displaying the data here. And this is the actually the project information, but she does not have any project experience. And this is the resume of Satinder. You can download the resume by clicking this download button. Okay, so I will show maybe a few other people. So this is Karthik, and this is Karthik's photo, and this is the basic information of Karthik, and this is the project information of Karthik. Okay, so TBS project. Okay, so like this you can see the information of the employees by clicking on their row. So this is Asmin. So basic information, project information, and this is the resume information. Okay, so you can filter or search the employees as well. For example, I want Asmin, so I can just copy the name. For example, I know the employee name. I can filter by using employee name and click go. Now you can see the data has filtered, and I can see only Asmin now. Okay, so you can reset the filter by clicking the reset button. So it got reset, and you can see all the employees are coming now. Okay, and you can filter using salary. You can filter, for example, I want only SAP UI5 people. I don't want everybody. I want only SAP UI5 people. I can filter by using the skill. So I entered skill as SAP UI5, click go. Now you can see only SAP UI5 employees. So Karthik, Satinder, and Vijaya are SAP UI5 people. So others are ABAPers and Java people like that. So reset. So similarly, you can sort these employees basing on the various fields. For example, you want to sort basing on the salary. For example, I selected salary, ascending order, click go. So now these employees got sorted basing on their salary. You can see 3 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 24 lakhs. Okay, so you can sort on descending order. So descending order, click go. So now you can see 24 lakhs on the top like that. So you can sort. You can also group. For example, I want to group basing on the skill. So group by skill, click go. Now you can see these employees got grouped. ABAP people on top, Java people, and then SAP UI5 people. Okay, and then other skills. Okay, got it, guys? I can also group the people by using their designation. So click go. So software engineers, team leads, okay, senior software engineers. So these three people are senior software engineers. So like this, I can do a lot of things. Okay, so I just clicked on reset, and all these people got reset. So similarly, so we can create an employee. So one employee I can create. See, this is, you can enter the employee details here. You can add the project information here, like this, add the project information. And if you don't want, you can delete it. You can upload the profile picture. So by clicking here and select the employees, okay, so select the employee photo, upload it, and you can add the resume of the employee. So you can add the resumes, so various resumes you can add. That's 64 employees or employee resumes. Yeah, so these are the resumes of the employees you can upload, and when you click on save, so all this data will be saved in your backend database table. Okay, so similarly, you can edit the employee details. For example, I clicked on Asmin and I want to edit her details. So select it and click on edit employee. Now you can see Asmin details are already coming. Now I can edit. I can edit any of these details. I can edit the project information as well. I can change the profile picture. So I don't want the previous profile picture. I want to change the profile picture. I can do. So I can add or delete the resumes. So I don't want this previous resume, I can delete it. I want to add the new resume, I can add it. Okay, and save, update. That data will get updated. Okay, so similarly, I can delete the employee simply by clicking the employee and click on the delete button. So it will ask, are you sure you want to delete? And if I click OK, employee will get deleted. Okay, so similarly, I can create bulk employees as well. So which we call it as a batch operation. I can upload. I can keep on add the employees like this and click submit. Then all these employees will get created. So at a time, I can create 100 employees, 1,000 employees like that. Alternatively, I can also keep my employee information in an Excel sheet. For example, so this is an Excel that contains some employees. So if I select this Excel, now the Excel is having 2 employees and both the employees automatically come in this table. And if I click on submit, then 2 employees will get created at a time. So this is called bulk employee creation. So bulk creation, which comes under a batch operation. Okay, so I'm just showing you what are all the things you will develop as a part of this training. Okay, so complete real-time project. This is called employee management. Employee management is an application which has complete realistic real-time requirements, guys. Okay, so when you go to the real-time project, so this particular application that you develop in your training will help you a lot. Okay, so that's about the creation, updation, and deletion. And now you can see some salary analysis button is there. So if I click here, so it will take you to a chart application. Now you can see each and every employee and his salary. Asmin 15 lakhs, Karthik 3 lakhs, Nagaprasanna 3 lakhs. So like this, every employee salary you can see here. Employee versus salary application. So you can change the chart. So it's a bar chart. You can change to line chart. You can change to the pie chart as well. So like this, you can, this is called an analytical application. So we developed this one as well. And the table data can also be exported to a Excel. So for example, if I click this, then the table data will get exported to a Excel. Okay, so that functionality also we have. Got it, guys? All right, so this is called a SAP UI5 application, so which we developed from the scratch, from the very beginning to the ending. So completely we will develop. Okay. So another application which we call it as a approval application, approve reject application. So this is called a master detail application. So here you can see all the employees at left hand side. So all these employees at the left hand side, and at the right hand side you can see the details of the employee, and you can take some decision on this employee uh, whether to select him or reject him. Okay, so let's say I'm a HR, so I want to just check the employee details, and I want to see whether I can decide whether to accept this employee or reject this employee. So whenever you want to develop a decision making application, so this is called master detail application. This is called master detail application. So these master detail applications are used to take the decision. For example, you applied a leave. Now I am the manager. I can either approve your leave or I can reject your leave, right? So that is called decision making. So for any kind of decision making application you want to develop, then you can use this master detail application. Okay. So this is called a my inbox application. So which we extended. We can extend a standard Fiori application, which I will talk later. You may not understand at this moment. You can see we added a few extra details here. We added a button here, and on click of the button also, we have written some logic, like you can see. So we shown some success message and with a title of the item that you clicked. So like this, we extended the standard Fiori application. So I will talk about this later. You will not understand at this moment. So these are your, how SAP UI5 application looks like. Okay. So all these applications you will develop, guys, as a part of your training. Okay. And you will also develop few other category applications that I will show you at the end of our demo session. Give me 1 second. So this cockpit is loading. Just wait for a few seconds. Yeah. So I'm just starting this tool, which we call it as a business application studio. This also you will understand later. So let us continue with our demo session. Yeah. Now let us talk about before SAP UI5 came into the picture. So what are the technologies we have? SAP UI5 came into the market in the year 2013 actually, but by the time the industries adopts it, it is 2015. So almost from 2015, I can say the industries are using SAP UI5 technology. Now, even before the 2013 or 2014, we have these technologies using which we developed uh, web-based applications in SAP world, and those are BSP, stands for Business Server Pages. Then WebDyn Pro has two flavors: WebDyn Pro Java technology, WebDyn Pro ABAP technology. Okay, so I personally have experience in all these technologies, but anyway, these are not your prerequisites. This is just to give you some information or history. What are these technologies before SAP UI5 came into the market? That's it. Okay. Now let us talk about what are the disadvantages of these previous technologies because of which SAP has released SAP UI5 into the market. So first of all, SAP understand that the world is moving towards mobility. Once upon a time, we used to operate everything on laptop, or even there are some desktops. But now everything moved to our hand, mobile, right? So SAP understand this fact that everything is going to move towards your mobile, one hand operation. No laptop, no desktop, only on your hand. So that is actually the main reason why SAP started and understand that there is a need of the new technology, so which can operate on any device, desktop, tablet, and mobile. Okay, and with that intention, SAP started this new technology called SAP UI5. So by the way, let us talk about the disadvantages of the previous technologies. In previous technologies, you can see your applications are very slow. If you see WebDriver application, try to load the data from backend, okay, try to navigate from one page to other page. So it is very slow. There will be a busy symbol which will be revolving round and round and round, and you will get a dizziness and you will fall down. So you can find slowness in those applications, and they support only desktop. They don't support tablet and mobile. So if you try to run the applications on mobile, the previous applications, if you try to run on desktop, sorry, tablet and mobile, you can see only half screen. And sometimes that half screen also will not visible properly. And very poor look and feel. So you will not find those applications as a modern applications. You will find very poor. And only white and blue colors are possible with those old applications. Only white and blue. No other color is possible. So these are, I can say, the significant disadvantages of the previous technologies. And to overcome these disadvantages, SAP has introduced this new technology, SAP UI5, which is very fast in performance-wise, and more importantly, it runs on any device. So it is not restricted only for desktop. You can run it on tablet, mobile, iPad, or any other device. And look and feel wise also, it is rich look and feel. You have seen just now how modern they are looking. Okay, so rich look and feel, and any colors are possible. You can keep any colors, whatever the colors you want, you can keep. So SAP has given a beautiful tool called Theme Designer. So you can design your own theme and apply that theme to the applications. So whatever the colors you want, you keep it without writing any code. Most importantly, without writing any code, you can do this color applying these colors. Okay, so many advantages are there with SAP UI5. So whatever I have written here, they are most important significant advantages. Okay, so there are wide variety advantages as well. All right, so this is the advantages of SAP UI5 and disadvantages of the previous technologies. Now we are getting into the most important things of this demo class, and those are the three. So one is the MVC architecture. So MVC architecture of SAP UI5. SAP UI5 technology has been based on this famous architecture, which is called MVC architecture. Now, what is this MVC architecture? Let us understand. MVC stands for Model, View, and Controller Architecture. Now, you need to understand what is model, what is controller, and what is view. Yeah, so I have written view first, and then controller, and then model. Okay. So the MVC architecture specifies, hey, Mr. Developer, we all are developers, right? Hey, Mr. Developer, if you are developing SAP UI5 application, then please divide that entire application into three layers, into three significant layers. And those three layers are view layer, controller layer, and model layer. Now each layer has its own importance, guys, its own purpose. All these layers are cleanly separated. Okay, now let us see what is the purpose of view layer. In the view layer, we write the code for screen designing only. We write the code for screen designing. Only screen designing. For example, you can see this particular screen, right? You can, one second. Yeah, so you can see this screen. We have designed the screen with filters, all the filters here, all the sorters here, all the group here, and the table here. And if you click on create employee, you can see the form created here and the table created here. And this is upload UI element created here. So this is screen designing. So we designed the screen, correct? So this particular screen designing code will be written in the view layer. In the view layer, we write the code for the screen designing only screen design. Got it? Next, controller layer. In the controller layer, we write the code for validations. We write the code for user actions. We write the code for calling CRUD operations. Now this is I can say very important, guys. Very important. We need to spend some time to understand this controller part. So I repeat once again, in the controller layer, we write the code for validations. We write the code for user actions. We write the code for CRUD operations. Write the code for CRUD operations, calling CRUD operations, not CRUD operations. We write the code for calling the CRUD operation. Okay. Now let us understand each and every part very much in detail. So first of all, validation. So what is validation? So let me just take an example. Let's say there is a screen and let's say there is an employee ID and this is the input field and there is a search button at the bottom. There is a search button at the bottom. Now the end user has to enter the employee ID and click on the search button. But there is a chance that end user will not enter the employee ID, but he simply click on search button, right? So at that time, we need to throw an error. We need to scold the end user, boss, first enter the employee ID and then click on search button, right? So that particular error, throwing the error when end user is not doing something correctly. So that is called validation. Understood? So I can give you another example. For example, he entered some ABCD or he entered his name, but name is not employee ID, correct? And he clicked on search button. Then again we need to throw an error, boss, enter the employee ID, which is only number, not your alphabets. So that is also a validation. Okay. So these are the validations and the errors that we throw to the end user to understand what is the correct way of entering the data. So that is called validation. So this code we will write in the controller layer. This code we write in the controller layer. Okay. Next, user actions. So we write the code for any user action. User actions means what? Let us understand what is a user action. User action means anything the end user can do by using the mouse and the keyboard are called user actions. Let me give some examples. The end user can click some button. The end user can select a value from the drop down, correct? The end user can See, I'm clicking on this button. This is a user action. I'm, for example, I'm selecting some value from this drop down. This is also a user action. I'm selecting a radio button. This is also a user action, right? So I'm clicking the row of a table. So I'm just clicking this row. This is also a user action, correct? So all these are the user actions. So various user actions, correct? So when the user performs some action, when the end user performs some action, what should be done next? For example, I clicked on this as main. So what should be done next? So we need to display the details of this girl. We need to display the details of this employee. So that is something we need to do next. So that logic, what to do next on some action of the end user, what to do next. So is something that also we write inside the controller. Okay. So any user actions will be written inside the controller, and user action means, so user action can be clicking a button, selecting a row from the table, selecting a radio button, selecting some value from the drop down, anything, it can be anything. So in one sentence I can say anything the end user can do by using the keyboard or the mouse, or if it is if you are running this application from the mobile, then again from the hand, finger tapping, okay, typing. So anything the end user will perform, and on that particular action what to do next, so that code we will write inside the controller. So for example, I clicked on create employee. So what I'm doing next, I'm navigating to a new page. I'm navigating to create employee page, right? We are doing this one. I fill the employee form and click on save. Then what I'm doing next, I'm sending this data to the backend, correct? So that is also user action. So basically, guys, anything the end user performs by using the mouse and keyboard, they are called actions. And on those actions, what to do next is the code that we write inside the controller. Okay. And what we also do is we also call the CRUD operation code that we write in the backend. So we write the CRUD operation code. CRUD means what? Creating the record, reading the record, updating the record, deleting the record is called CRUD, C-R-U-D. Create, read, update, delete. So this is called CRUD, create, read, update, delete. So the CRUD operation code is actually written in the backend, but that will be called using inside the controller. So it will be called in from the controller. Okay. So that code also we write inside controller. For example, so here in the create employee, when I click on submit, okay, so all this data has to be created in the backend, right? So how this data getting created in the backend? Because I'm collecting this data, sending the data to the backend, and I'm also calling the create operation code that was written in the backend, and that is the reason this record is getting created. So similarly, if you go to the update operation, for example, I'm selecting Asmin and click on edit employee. So this is Asmin's data. Now if I click update, I'm calling the update operation written in the backend. So this is called your calling of the CRUD operations. So this is the controller layer. Next, model layer. So what model layer will do? Model layer basically deals with data and data manipulations. So this model layer actually present in the front end as well as in the back end, because the data will be manipulated in the back end as well as some data we manipulated in the front end as well. So at this moment, I don't want to complicate the things. So you simply understand model means dealing with the data and data manipulations. So dealing with the data and data manipulation means what? We need to store the data and we need to process the data. So we need to, format the data, and we also do some processing of the data, right? And we also perform the CRUD operations, CRUD operations on the data. So that also comes under the model layer. So here, this is calling of the CRUD operations. See, calling a CRUD operation is different from writing the code for CRUD operations. So in the model layer, we write the code for CRUD operations. Okay. So data manipulations are nothing but code for CRUD operations. Create, write the code. Read, writing the code. Update operation, write the code. Delete operation, write the code. So code we are writing in the model layer. The code is written in the model layer. But here we are not writing the code for CRUD operation. We are calling that code. We are calling the code that is present in the backend. So I clearly written calling the CRUD operations here. We are not writing the code for CRUD operations. CRUD operation code is written in the model layer, but we just call that particular logic from the front end, right? So that is called calling the CRUD operations. Okay. So now this in this MVC architecture, my dear friends, view layer and controller layer, these are purely front-end layers. Purely front-end layers. This model layer, 50% present in the front end as well, 50% present in the back end as well, that you will understand in future. Because we deal with the data in the front end, we deal with the data in the back end as well. Okay, so that's why the model layer is split into both front end and back end. Okay, so this is the MVC architecture. I hope you understand. Now, before I close this MVC architecture, there is a very important relation between the view and controller. Very, very important relation, guys. This is a interview question, and even in the certification, SAP UI5 certification also, you will find this question. There is a very important relation between view and controller, and that is 1:1 relation, like a husband and wife relation, view and controller. So what is 1:1 relation between the view and controller? Every view has its own controller. I will write this one as well. Every view has its own controller. So what is the meaning of every view has its own controller? What is that meaning? The meaning is, so let me explain using a diagram. So let's say there are two views. This is view 1 and this is view 2. View means web page, guys, simple. So if you take this application, this is one view and this is another view. So this is one view, and if I click this, this is another view, and if I click create employee, this is another view, and if I click on create bulk employees, this is another view. So like this, view means web page, that's it, nothing else. Now what is this 1:1 relation? So this is view 1 and this is view 2. View 1 will have its own controller with the same name, view 1 controller. View 1 controller. And view 2 will have its own controller, so which we call it as view 2 controller. Okay, so like this, every view has its own controller, my dear friends. And what does it mean? It means that every view's validation, every view's user actions, on that view any CRUD operations will be written in their own controller only. Okay, for example, in the view 1, whatever the validations are there, that will be written in the view 1 controller only. Okay, so here this view 1 will talk to only view 1 controller and view 2 will talk to view 2 controller. Now in the view one, whatever the validations you have, whatever the user actions you have, if there are any CRUD operations you have, so those logic will be written in the view one controller. And in the view two, any validations are there, any user actions are there, any CRUD operations are there, those will be written in the view two controller. So clean separation of each and every web page and its logic. So here view is only for screen designing. So we just design the screen here, but the entire validations, actions, and calling CRUD operations will be written here in the view one controller. Okay. So similarly, view 2's entire thing will be taken care by view 2 controller. So view is for display purpose, controller is for its operation, for its functionality. Okay. Just like husband and wife's job. Okay. Nowadays, husband and wife both are working as same, but in our olden days, mother used to take care of the children and home, and father used to go out and earn money, right? I think those are the beautiful days, I can say. Okay. Uh, Similarly, the view's purpose is to display the screen, and the controller purpose is to have its functionality of the entire screen. Okay. All right. So now you can see, this is the view, and if I click, now the functionality, is written in the view one controller that you can't see anyway. So one more important point is for the screen designing in the view layer, for the screen designing, we use the XML coding. So it looks like HTML, just like HTML. Okay, it looks like HTML code. Got it, guys? And for in the controller layer, to do the functionality, we use JavaScript coding. So a controller is a JavaScript file. So every controller will have the extension called .controller.js, and a view is a XML file with the extension .view.xml. So like this. So my dear friends, view is a XML file, so in which we write the code in HTML, or so it looks like HTML, but actually it is XML. And in the controller, we write the code in JavaScript. Now immediately, almost everybody will start shouting, Rizwan, I don't know XML, I don't know HTML, I don't know this JavaScript, then how can I learn? You don't worry about that, boss. It is my job to teach. Okay, so please don't worry. The moment I start saying XML, HTML, JavaScript, the people start, keeping in the chat box. People unmute and start asking, Rizwan, I don't know JavaScript. Will you, can I able to understand? So don't worry about it. It is not your headache. It is my headache. I will teach you. Okay. And moreover, this JavaScript, whatever SAP uses, that is not pure your open source JavaScript. It is SAP's version of JavaScript. SAP has designed its own JavaScript, okay, its own API with JavaScript. So that is something which we need to understand. So that is something I will take care. So I will explain with the syntax as well. So you don't worry on it. All right, now the next part we are going to understand is the front end to back end and back end to front end data flow. So this is a very important, guys. Very, very important. Very, very important, I can say. So before I explain the slide, I just want to show you here. So this is called front end. Front end means what? Your browser is the front end. Front end, right? The name self-explanatory. Your browser is the front end. Now, for example, I created an employee, I fill this data, I fill the project information, I fill the picture, I fill the resume, and click on save button. When I click on save, do you know where this data will go and save? This entire data will go and sit in SAP database tables. That is called backend. SAP database is called backend. Not only database, SAP's database, any database is called backend basically. What database will do? DBMS, database management system, in your college days, we have this subject, right? Database management system. So basically, database is to store the data and to perform various, operation and processing on the data. Correct? That is called backend. Now, what is front end to backend and backend to front end data flow? When I click save here, front end data will go to the backend. Correct? Whatever the data you fill, this new employee, whatever the data you fill, this data will flow to the backend. That is called front end to backend data flow. Now, for example, here in this table, I can see all the employees that are already there in the database. Do you know from where this data is coming? This data is coming from backend to the front end. Even I will show you another, see this one. From where I'm getting this Karthik, Nagaprasanna, Ravi Kishore, Rizwan, database where all the tables will present, all the function modules will be present, all that basically data related thing will present in this SAP backend system. Now, in addition to this SAP backend system, you also need another web server. You need another server, so which we call it as SAP gateway system. So why this SAP gateway system is needed? This SAP gateway system is needed for two purposes. One is it acts as a middle layer between your front end and the back end, and it also acts as a web server to host your UI5 applications. Your SAP UI5 applications, Fiori applications, all these applications will be stored, will be deployed, not stored, will be deployed or hosted inside the SAP gateway system. You know that any web application needs a web application server, right? So without having a web application server, can you host any application? No, not possible, right? So SAP UI5 applications will be hosted in this SAP gateway system. And there is another reason of this gateway system, and that is the SAP gateway system will host a web service, so which will act as a mediator between, for the communication, it acts as a mediator between the front end and the back end. Now let us understand in detail. So first thing you need to understand is when you go to a real-time project, you will find two systems, bare minimum two systems. One is the SAP backend system where your data resides, and another one is the SAP gateway system. So this gateway system will host your UI5 applications and also act as a mediator between your front-end screen and to the backend database tables communication. Okay. The second thing we need to understand is why this particular gateway system is hosting a OData service. What is this OData service, and how this OData service will act as a mediator between the front end and the back end. So I will not complicate the things. I will explain the things very simply because this is just a demo class. Guys, your front end is based on JavaScript, XML, HTML, right? This is your front end technology, which is based on JavaScript and all. And your back end is ABAP technology. ABAP is the technical language that we use in ABAP back end. Now the front end and back end, these two are two incompatible technologies. These two are not compatible technologies. That is different and this is different. Two different technologies cannot communicate with each other directly. Remember, two different technologies cannot communicate with each other directly. For example, let's say I know only Telugu. Okay, I'm from Andhra Pradesh, so I know Telugu. And let's say there is a Tamil person who know only Tamil. Okay, now we both need to communicate. Is it possible? Can I communicate with a Tamil person? No. I can speak only Telugu, he can speak only Tamil. Communication is not possible. So what is needed? A mediator is needed who can translate my Telugu into Tamil for him and who can translate his Tamil into Telugu for me. Right? So the communication is happening through a mediator. So without the mediator, the communication will not happen. Simple, as simple as that. So here, the front end knows only JavaScript, HTML, XML. The back end knows only ABAP. So these two fellows cannot communicate with each other directly. So we developed something called a web service in the middle. So your CRUD operation logic, so whatever the CRUD operation logic that you write in the backend, so this create, read, update, delete operation code will be exposed like a web service in the middle. So a OData service is a web service. So a web service will be exposed in this SAP gateway system layer. Now this web service, which we call it as a OData service, is a universally accepted service. Okay, and SAP UI5 can talk to this OData service, and the OData service can receive the data from the front end and handle the data to the back end. So this acts as a mediator between the front end and back end guys. Okay, now let us take a simple example and understand this entire flow. When you go to a project, these are the steps how we develop an entire project. So step number one is we create a SAP UI5 project in the front end by using a tool called SAP Web IDE or Business Application Studio. I will show you in both the tools. Step number two is we design the screen and we also write the code for validations in the front end. So we understand designing the screen and validation, right? So that code we write in the front end. Step number three is whatever the tables that are required to develop the project, we create all those tables. Okay, that is step number three. Now, let's say the client asked for an application where in the front end he wants employee ID, employee name, skill, only 3 fields. And if we click on submit button, the client wants all this data to be saved in an employee table. So in the third step, I will create an employee table with the fields employee ID, employee name, skill, because in the front end, you need only these 3. So in the back end, I will create only these 3 fields. Now, step number 4. This is one of the important step, and this is the back end step. In the step number 4, we go to a T code called SEGW and we create a OData project. And in this OData project, we write the CRUD operations on this table. So C means create. The create operation will contain the logic to insert the record in this table. The update operation contains the logic to update the record in this table. The delete operation contains the logic to delete the record in this table. And the read operation contains the logic to read the data from this table. So CRUD operation logic will be written inside the OData project. And this entire logic will be exposed like a web service. How it is exposed like a web service, down the line you will understand. Now, this outcome of this OData project is a OData service. So this OData service will be kept inside the gateway system. Now UI5 application, step number 5. The step number 5 is when you click on submit button. When you click on submit button, you will call this service. You will call whom? You will call this OData service. You will not call backend directly. You will call the OData service. While calling the OData service, you will pass this data 101 Rizwan UI5. And you will also mention which operation you want to perform. I want to perform create operation. You can also mention update, delete also. So I want to create, so I mentioned the operation name as create. Now what happens? The request will go to OData service. This OData service will understand that this fellow want to create. Okay, so it will redirect the execution to the create method in the OData project, which is in the backend. Now, this method will also receive this data 101 Rizwan UI5. So the create operation will take this data and The logic is already there inside this create operation to insert the record in this table, so the data get inserted in this table. So this is how the data will flow from front end to the OData to the OData service to the OData project, and that will insert the data into the tables. Same thing will happen in reverse. For example, you want the data to be shown on front end, then read operation will be called. The read operation will read the data and take and give it back to the OData service, and OData will give it to the front end. Simple. So this is the front end to the back end and back end to the front end data flow. Now finally, we are going to understand uh, the last one, which is the difference between the SAP UI5 application and the Fiori application. Most of the people have confusion in SAP UI5 and Fiori. So please listen carefully. After that, you will not have any confusion between SAP UI5 and Fiori, guys. So all your confusions will be rolled out. So first of all, you need to make in your mind that SAP UI5 is the technology. It is the technology. Fiori is not a technology, guys. Your Fiori is not a technology. UI5 is the technology. Now, using this UI5 technology, there are two names which are very popular, and that is SAP UI5 application and SAP Fiori application. Now, when people talking about this is a Fiori application, this is UI5 application, most of the people get confused. How can I say this is UI5 application and how I can say this is Fiori application? Basically, which is Fiori application, which is UI5 application? Personally, I have seen out of 10, 9 people have this confusion. And some people, they really don't know what is UI5 application, what is Fiori application, but they will act like they know UI5 application and Fiori application, and they just deceive themselves. They are not deceiving others, they are deceiving themselves, acting like as if they already know the difference. So please listen carefully, guys. You will clearly understand the exact difference between SAP UI5 and Fiori. So for this, I will just take a small example and you will automatically understand. Let's say I want a house. What I want? I want a house. Now, if I want a house, I have two options for me. Option number one is which our father's generation has done. Okay, option number one. So what our father's generation has done, they purchase the land. They purchase bricks, cement, sand, whatever the raw materials that are needed, concrete, gravel, whatever. So everything they purchased, and we keep some workers into that work, laborers into the work, and we construct our house from the scratch. Construct the house from the scratch. This is called SAP UI5 application. This is called SAP UI5 application. Now please listen the comparison. If you means developer, as a SAP UI5 developer, if you are developing the application from the scratch level as per the client's requirements, then that application is called SAP UI5 application. I repeat, if you means UI5 developer, if you are developing the application from the scratch level according to the client's requirements, that is called SAP UI5 application, right? Our fathers has done that only, right? They develop the house according to their wish from the scratch level. So that is UI5 application. Now what is Fiori application? Again, back to the example. If I want a house, I have another option number two, which our generation people are doing. So what we are doing, are we constructing the house from the scratch? No. There is some Lodha constructions, there is some Aparna constructions, there is some Anuhar constructions, there is some other constructions. Okay. Pay the money, take your flat. Pay the money, take your flat. But is that construction according to your requirement? Maybe somewhat and somewhat not. Correct? Maybe somewhat not. But anyway, you are paying the money, taking the flat. That means ready-made house. Ready-made house. You are not constructing you. You means I need the house, but I'm not constructing the house from the scratch. I'm paying the money, taking my house. That's it. So this is your theory application. Now let us understand in detail what is theory application. Theory application is a ready-made application. Ready-made application means who developed it? SAP. SAP has developed that application readily for you, and you are paying the money, taking that application. That's it. Okay. SAP has developed some applications which are commonly used across industries. For example, every industry needs a leave application, correct? You need to apply leave, I need to apply leave, everybody need to apply leave. So leave application, everybody needs. So SAP thought UI5 technology is my technology. So why can't I develop this application and sell it? Why can't I develop the application and sell it? I get money. So SAP started developing many applications which are very common, just like this leave application. So the collection of applications which are readily developed by SAP. Let's say there are some 100 applications, set of 100 applications developed by SAP. So for these set of applications which are developed by SAP, SAP needs a brand name to do the advertising, to do the publicity of his applications which are developed by him. So he chose the word is some German word, I guess. The word fiery. Fiery means flower, one type of flower. Okay. So that's why if you go to the Fiery Launchpad, so